So, welcome everybody. Welcome. It's very nice to have you here. And today I have Amy here with me, and we would like to share with you a little bit of the inquiry process. Of course, the inquiry process is, I could talk a lot about what it is and how it works, but before we actually do it, maybe I just speak a little bit about it. So, inquiry is such a very powerful and very direct way to know our true nature. And so in every moment, in every moment you are actually willing to change the direction of your looking. And if you are willing to put your attention on your true nature, beautiful, just even that, we can call inquiry. And inquiry is also very, very powerful process that allows us to meet what arises. Because if I was to, define suffering, and of course, again, I will have to talk a lot about it, and I'm not going to today, but if we just take a very simple definition of suffering, like suffering is a movement away from our true nature. If we can really, really hear that, suffering is a movement away from our true nature, then, then freedom is really an ability to remain at rest, no matter what arises here. So with inquiry, we have this ability to really meet directly what arises. And in that meeting, that's the end of suffering. And we all know that we have tried many different ways to alleviate suffering when it's present, and we often think about changing circumstances or learning new habits or creating new strategies, and we all know how that goes, right? We know that it just lasts for a little bit and that it doesn't really necessarily bring us what we are looking for, which ultimately always is peace. So through this very, very direct way of inquiry, we can meet what arises here, and we can find what we are looking for. What we are looking for, which is always present. So what do you say, Amy? Shall we talk a little bit more about that? Or what do you say?
Yes, definitely. A question that has been coming to me when you talk about suffering and inquiring into it deeper. And actually I can see a lot of ways that I've tried to make things better and continue to do that, and some of them are helpful, but underneath there's some guilt around parenting and not being this perfect parent, whatever that is, or not parenting in the ways that my children need me to all the time. And there's it's there for me at times, and it's distracting, definitely, from my true nature and probably from my ability to parent them better.
So we can't really necessarily do anything about the beliefs that are holding that, right?
Right.
Because there is obviously some misunderstanding, right, of what, or some understanding of what perfection is and what it's supposed to look like, and how does that compare to actually what happens in the moment, right? So we don't really, at least not right now, at this moment, we don't want to get involved with that, right? But we could, notice that there's these moments when this, we call it guilt, right?
Mm-hmm.
That this sensation or feeling or sense of guilt arises here. And I would want to stop it right here, right? I would want to stop it right in this moment, and I would want to say, let's just notice the sensation of that, first of all. Let's come into the body and let's notice the sensation.
Okay.
And that sensation, as it is present here right now, is that okay?
No.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And for many, for many of us, when we look, then there will be that sense of not okayness, which really I would say is a definition of suffering. What arises here, there's nothing we can do about that. Circumstances arise, inner circumstances arise, whatever comes up, comes up. And that's not something we can change, but how we are with it, right? How we are with it, that is what makes the difference. So that not okayness is what I would call suffering. So let's take a moment and notice that not okayness in your body. Let's notice that.
Feels like a heaviness here, throat and chest.
Beautiful, beautiful. So some heaviness in your throat, heaviness in your chest. And now, as long as we are, respecting again the nervous system and the brain, and so your feet on the ground, your eyes slightly open, your sense of being here, present also, then let's just take a moment and notice this heaviness in your throat, in your chest area. Let's just take a moment and notice that.
Wow, there's like a real tiredness with it too. It's heavy.
Right. So what happens when you pay attention? What happens when you notice?
It actually dissipated some, and then the tiredness kind of whooshed in.
Right. That kind of, however it showed up, it disappears, and then there's just tired, right? Well, let's just notice that. Let's moment with that. Which I'm sure it's tiring to hold that, right?
Yes.
Sense of responsibility, or sense of right or wrong, or sense of what should be, So let's allow that tiredness to be here.
Well, now as I sit here and just, acknowledge it on a level of sensation with attention, it does dissipate, and there's more awakeness, more aliveness. It was interesting to see. My mind wanted to kind of go to all of these things that I think that then keep the guilt there, concerns or whatever. But as I just decided, chose to stay here and be in my body, with the sensation, it's like, instead of feeling the tiredness only, there's a sense of just aliveness and more awareness. Because the tiredness was like a fog. That's what it felt like.
Of course. Beautiful. So just notice that aliveness, more awake, more alive, more clear. And also so good what you're saying, so beautiful, the willingness to stay and not just move with the mind and the story and all the different, ideas that we have of what it's supposed to be like. So Good, good, beautiful. So just noticing that aliveness and awake and more awake. And beautiful, beautiful. So right now in this moment, Amy, then, is it okay to be here then?
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. It's okay to be here with it.
Yeah, and that's what I call being present.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, it may still take for you, for me, or for anybody some time for the body and mind to really settle into it, right? It depends on what is it that we are sitting with. It might take some time, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because the physiology, it needs its time. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But the moment there's that okayness, then we are out of the past. We are out of the engagement with the past. So we are not trying to be different anymore. We are here, just the way it is, right?
It's really it's beautiful because I can feel that when I move with that heaviness, it just doesn't ever, the results are not ever what I want for my parenting. And like right now, there's just a lot more openness and kindness and connection. You know, if my child were to come into the room, I feel that versus with that heaviness, it's like closed off.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, and before we even go into parenting, we want that parenting to happen here. Right?
Yeah, ideally. Yes.
We want that moment. Let's just take another moment here. We want that, you know, openness, beautiful, beautiful awakeness, openness. That kind of. We want that to penetrate and inform. Right? Beautiful, because that's also what we didn't get in that place. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That it's possible to be like that. Beautiful, beautiful, lovely, because that's what we are really looking for. Right? That, you know, peace or quietude that happens. Right? That's what we are looking for. That's what we really want. That's our trait. Good, beautiful. So what do you say, Amy? Is that good for now, do you think? Or did you want to say more about what it is like? Or
Excuse me. It's just a very clear discernment between what kinds of actions and thoughts come, you know, from the different feeling states that inquiry helps us get into, you know, on the level of sensation. So it's just, I really appreciate inquiry in the way that it's integrating for me. Just feeling more present in my body and in my life, you know, after meeting it in this way. And it's so simple. Really.
exactly, exactly. And even, you know, and we know that even with the recognition of presence, even with an awakening, right? We can still carry, and we still do carry tendencies and
Oh yeah.
past that it, like everything needs to be informed, right? Everything needs to find its form, or we need to find the peace that is here already, right? No matter what arises and how it manifests in the moment, that actually, you know, the peace is here, right? No matter what.
Yeah.
Good, beautiful, yeah. What do you say?
It's good.
Is that good for now?
Yeah, it is.
Lovely.
Thank you, Neelam.
Enjoy. Yes, thank you, and thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us for